Soul.
You're kidding. Just one shot?
They're not all zombies, Doug. How do you fight this thing?
Maybe we could drown it in A1 sauce.
Well, sometimes that is better. The person you put up there ain't the person that comes back.
It's a dance song to get down with. About 6 feet under. Get there.
Ooh, I love this song. I'm hung up in a grave situation.
And now we come to the thrilling final episode of our radio drama.
Hello and welcome to episode 128 of the Rotten Reviews podcast. I feel like it's been a little while since I recorded a video, even though I did the last two episodes within like a couple days apart from each other. But I want to say thank you for everyone who's been returning to the podcast, for, you know, leaving comments, reviews, ratings, all that fun stuff. I appreciate it all, and I love the support and appreciate it so much. It means a lot. I'm glad to be doing something that people actually enjoy listening to, so that means a lot to me. And we'll hopefully keep making good content and making good videos that people enjoy, and you know, that's the main goal of this all, and hopefully it keeps working out. Before we get into the episode today, make sure to check out all my social medias, YouTube being the big thing. I'm really pushing for that YouTube channel. I think we're almost up to 400 subscribers now on that, actually, and the views are going fairly well. I'm at a little bit of a down spot in my shorts just because I haven't been posting as much artwork, but we're going to get right back into that. We got a bunch of artwork we're starting to build up, and yeah, we're going to do some more gaming videos. I've been doing some Flintstone videos up on there. I've been playing Flintstone game on the SNES, and I believe I've been playing Cartoon Network Speedway on the Game Boy Advance. I believe that's the right console. It's Game Boy. It might have been Game Boy Color, but I'm pretty sure it was Game Boy Advance. But yeah, we got some other videos coming up soon. I got, like I said, a gaming video drops every Wednesday, and then I'm going to be doing some gaming short videos throughout the week and art videos throughout the week that are going to be in the shorts, and some full-length art videos as well, and some full-length art streams at some point in time. I'm not sure yet when. I'm still looking into getting a new camera for that, because the camera I got, it just doesn't capture it as well as I would hope it would. So maybe we'll, you know, if I have to, maybe I'll try and set up something up with my cell phone using that, because it's got fairly well, you know, made camera on there. So, you know, with technology these days, we'll get it all set up. It's all a work in progress for the year, for the next couple of years. Let's be honest. I've been working away at the YouTube channel and like Twitch streaming and all that kind of stuff on and off for the last couple of years. So hopefully we'll dust off the Twitch channel at some point in time. But I want to redo the whole thing, make my own panels and emotes and all that kind of fun stuff, and get that all set up before anything even goes live again, so it's not like a rush to get the stuff done last minute. But enough of that. I know you guys are here to listen to me talk about the movie at hand for this episode 128, which is Falling Down, which I feel like goes well with our movie that we listened to or watched last week that you guys listened to, Mayhem. This is from 1993. It's an action crime movie for an hour and 53 minutes. I've watched it a couple times before. I forgot how long it was. It actually doesn't feel that long, but it is that long. Starring Michael Douglas. You know, you guys should know who that is, hopefully. It's got a 7.6 out of 10 on IMDb, 75% on Rotten Tomatoes, and a 4.6 out of 5 on Amazon. 86% of Google users like this film. Release date was February 26, 1993. Directed by Joe Schumacher. Screenplay by Ebby Rose Smith. And yeah, it had a budget of, apparently, I don't understand this. It says 18.1 million, and then it says also 25 million. So I'm not sure which ones are right. Maybe it's just in between the two, I'm assuming. But I'm assuming you guys all know who Joe Schumacher is as well. Known for like doing the Batman Forever movies. What else? Phone Booth, Phantom of the Opera from 2004, 8mm from 1999. I don't remember that movie at all, but it's one of the ones that comes up where, you know, his top four, essentially IMDb will pull up your top four movies, and Phantom of the Opera, Phone Booth, 8mm, and Batman and Robin are the main ones that are shown, even though Batman and Robin has a 3.7 rating, and All the other ones have low 7s, high 6s. So nothing amazing, but he's known for Batman and Robin. I like Batman and Robin. It's fine. It's fine. Quick synopsis on the movie. An ordinary man, frustrated with the various flaws he sees inside, begins psychotically and violently lash out against them. It's not great. IMDb, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. We're gonna read the one from Google too. A middle-aged man dealing with both unemployment and divorce, William Foster, also known as Defense, is having a bad day when his car breaks down on the LA highway, which I didn't actually know his car broke down. I just thought they were stuck in traffic. He leaves his vehicle and begins to trek across the city to attend his daughter's birthday party. As he makes his way through the urban landscape, William's frustration and bitterness become more evident, resulting in violent encounters with various people, including a vengeful gang and a veteran cop. Let's see what the tagline for this movie is. The tagline is "The Adventures of an Ordinary Man at War with the Everyday World." Some trivia is apparently Michael Douglas considers this his favorite performance of all the movies he's been in. That's actually kind of cool. Also a goof. Rocket is still visible inside the rocket launcher immediately after being fired later on in the movie, which I actually didn't notice that. I should have been paying attention, but I must have missed that. And there's an alternate version post 2009 release. The Warner Bros. Picture logos at the start of the movie is plastered with the 2003 variant, apparently.
Presents Saturday Night at the Movies, the television series which each week brings you the finest in recent motion pictures. Tonight,
see, this is what I'm talking about. Turn around, look at that. You see what I mean? It's plump, it's juicy, it's 3 inches thick. Now, can anybody tell me what's wrong with this picture?
Having a bad day. Going nowhere fast. The economy making you tense. Afraid to walk the streets. Life in the 90s got you down. What are you gonna do about it?
Hey! Where do you think you're going? Going home.
I am just trying to get home to my little girl's birthday. And if everybody will stay out of my way, then nobody will get hurt.
Give me some money. Give us your briefcase.
Give it to me. Give it to me. Give it to me.
In the battlefield of life,
I mean, I was willing to mind my own business, but you couldn't leave it alone, could you?
the time has come
Move up or move back, you donkey!
for Bill Foster to fight back.
You forgot the briefcase!
And what would a white guy in a white shirt and tie be doing in gangland?
In America, we have the freedom of speech, the right to disagree.
What kind of vigilante are you? I am not a vigilante. Just standing up for my rights as a consumer. I'd like some breakfast.
We stop serving breakfast at 11:30.
Have you ever heard the expression, the customer is always right?
Yeah, well, hey, I'm really sorry.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'm really sorry, too.
No, it's an accident! It's an accident!
We got a nutcase with a bag full of guns. He's in Hollywood right now, and he's heading west.
Excuse me. I don't know if you've noticed or not, but there's other people waiting to use the phone here.
He has a propensity for violence.
Think it's out of order?
Yeah, I think you could say that.
Past the point of no return.
If you go up against this guy, be careful.
Michael Douglas, Robert Duvall, Falling Down.
I'm the bad guy?
Going right into the movie. The movie starts out with the classic Warner Brothers logo. Movie starts out with this close-up shot on Michael Douglas, who is playing William, who's actually on IMDb credit as Defense, but we'll say William throughout the thing. He's stuck in a traffic jam, which I thought was just a normal LA traffic jam, but apparently his car is supposed to be broken down, even though there's a bunch of cars ahead of him that are all stuck in the traffic jam as well, so I'm not really sure where we're supposed to get that aspect. I know his AC and stuff isn't working, but that's besides the point. We can tell he looks very tired and just all around beaten down. As the intro credits start to roll in, we see a bunch of other people stuck in traffic as well, like kids in buses throwing stuff around, and just a kid sitting in the back car with her really cool Garfield suction cup thing on the back window, which I thought was really awesome as a kid. Nowadays I would hate to have one on window of her vehicle, but that's besides the point. But yeah, the music and everything going together, and the buzzing of the flies because it's a really hot summer day. It's really setting the intense, irritable mood. William tries to play with his AC, but it's clearly not working. And then the honking and the flies and all the other people talking and complaining starts to really get to him. I think he tries to roll up his window so he can't hear it. That would make it even worse because then you're just going to be sweating your ass off even more. But then the crank on his actual window breaks as well, and it just sits there and rotates the whole time. It's like, oh crap, okay, whatever then. This is definitely the early stages of a man who's getting ready to snap and have a mental breakdown. Then everything becomes too much, so he gets out of his car with his suitcase in hand and decides to walk his ass home instead. Which I just thought he was tired of waiting in traffic because there's like construction happening up ahead of him. So I would not know that his vehicle is broken down because there's a bunch of cars ahead of him that are all stopped as well. Then we see other people stuck in traffic, and a motorcycle cop shows up and he's looking at the abandoned car, which was William's car, and traffic still hasn't moved at all. And then we start to focus on this new guy, which is Robert Duvall's character, Prendergast, which we're not going to say that name probably ever again because that sounds like a horrible name, and it just sounds like I can't say it properly. So we're just going to name him Robert Duvall because that's his real name. And the guy who's parked behind William gets out, and they're talking about the car, and the cops trying to figure things out, and they want to wait for a tow truck to show up, even though traffic hasn't moved at all, so I'm not sure how the tow truck's supposed to get to the car. So the motorcycle cop, and the other two guys decide to push it off on the side, and somehow the officer's bike falls over, and Duvall goes to pick it up, and the cop's like, no, don't touch my bike. My bike. Then we cut and see a girl and her kid, which is Beth and William's daughter. They're rushing inside to grab the phone because they hear it ring, and on the other end is William, but he doesn't say a goddamn word. He's just one of those creepers. And then they hang up eventually after waiting so long to hear if he's going to say anything. Then we see William walking through this like rundown ghetto area of town where he walks into the small store because he wants to ask for change to use the payphone outside because he doesn't have enough change on him now. And then of course the clerk being like, no, you gotta go buy something if you want change. I think the clerk's name was Mr. Lee, I believe. He goes to the freezer, William does, and he grabs like a Coke because everything was still in cans back then. I don't know, can you buy a Coke can? I think that everything's bottles nowadays. But anyways, I don't go into stores enough, like convenience stores enough to know this. But anyways, he grabs it and puts it on his head to try and, cool himself down because it's a hot day. And he takes it back to the counter to buy it, and then he thinks it's just going to be like 50 cents. And then the clerk's like, no, 85. And he's like, that's not going to give me enough change to use the payphone then. I need enough change to use the payphone. And then this whole racial kind of thing breaks out because William's just tired of everything because the guy's Korean. He's like, you're working here, you got your own store, you can't speak English properly, what the hell's going on here? And then they start to wrestle over the small bat that Mr. Lee's going to grab because Mr. Lee feels like he's threatened, and then they start fighting. They knock over a display unit, and then William gets the bat from him, and he's pissed off, so he breaks another display of some sort, and then Lee's just like, just take the money and leave, just take the money and leave. And William's like, you're calling me the thief? You were the thief charging 85 cents for a can of soda. Then William starts going through the store asking the price of various things, and William pretty much hates every single price that Mr. Lee lists off, so everything gets broken. Then the clerk says that the soda is now 50 cents, and William takes his money out, literally puts his money in the cash register, gets his change that he needs, and then literally walks out with the guy's bat. And that's all we see of him for right at this moment. Then we see Duvall at work, and his coworkers pull a prank on him because he's a cop and it's his last day he's retiring, so his wife can be happy to go off to some spot in Arizona that has a little lake that's not a lake, it's just muddy water, but that's besides the point until later on. But yeah, he opens up his drawer, and inside it's just full of cat litter. He's like a bunch of the guys come, he's like, yeah, it's just, you can get used to the sand. It's actually cat litter, it's not sand, and enjoy the rocks in there. They're not actually rocks either. My cat didn't mind. And then we also see he pulls out a picture because the drawer was still full of all this stuff. He pulls out this picture of this little girl that was in underneath the cat litter now because these guys are assholes. But then we cut back to Beth. She's filling up she's on the phone, and she's also filling up the water gun for kid. I think her name's Adele. Yeah, Adele. And we see William trying to use the payphone again, but he's getting the busy dial tone, which is upsetting him because he's just a frustrated man. And then while Duvall is at his desk, his wife calls, and she's sad because she's thinking he's leaving or retiring for her, what she really is, but he doesn't want to say it. And we find out that she's holding the same picture that he was looking at as well, and it's their child, and we'll find out a little bit more about the child later on. And then he starts singing her London Bridge Falling Down. I'm not sure if that's a song that they is listening to their child or not, but it kind of calms her down and then he hangs up on her. We cut to see William looking down at the sea through a hole that's in his shoe now. It's probably been there for a while, but maybe it just started burning really fast because of how hot it is. I don't know. But then these two like Mexican gang members come up and say he's trespassing. They point out the graffiti on the debris that he's sitting on. And he's like, well, you know, if it was fucking in English, may I be able to understand it then? And he's like, you know what? I'm sorry. This is your backyard. I know we came off on the wrong foot. I'll respect your territory. I know, you know, I'm just having a really weird bad day and I don't want to, you know, rub it off on you guys. This is your backyard. Well, yeah, I'll leave you guys alone. I'll be moving on my way. And they're like, no, you're going to give us a briefcase. Then you can fuck off. But no, he's like, no, I'm not giving you my briefcase. And he tells them to fuck off. And then he's like, you know what? Actually, I will give you the briefcase. I don't want to cause any trouble. He goes to grab the briefcase and behind it is the baseball bat. And he literally starts beating the crap out of these two Mexican guys. And they don't get the jump on him at all. Even though, if the one guy's getting hit by the bat, I'm sure the other guy would jump in. But it's besides the point. They drop their butterfly knife and run off, scared like little pussies. And then he picks up the knife and he starts swinging it around. He's like, how do they do that? Then we see Duvall being asked to hand over his gun and, you know, sign off on some paperwork. And then this Japanese cop, I forget his name, he comes over and he's like, you know, I'm sorry it's your last day, but we got this break and entry and that's what you deal with, and it's Mr. Lee. And Duvall's like, well, what's he saying? Because the guy's speaking in a non-English language. He's like, well, if you would know, I'm Japanese and he's speaking Korean, asshole. And Duvall just kind of laughs about it. And then we find out it's the owner of the little convenience store, Mr. Lee, and he's explaining the situation. The cop's like, oh, sorry, man, I thought it was a break and entry. We'll take him off. This is actually an assault case. And because Mr. Lee mentions that, yeah, sure, William came in and, you know, messed up his spot a little bit, but at least he paid for everything that he took, so it's not really stealing. Then the phone rings again, and it's William calling Beth again, and he doesn't say anything at first, but she knows it's him and she just wants him to say something. She wants to know why he's calling, or she wants to know why he's calling. We find out that it's Adele, or known as Belle, her birthday, the child of both of them, and he's coming home to see her for her birthday. And this is where we find out they're not together and she doesn't really want him at all, and they're separated. And there's a lot of issues between the two because she's scared for her life essentially, because apparently William has a very troubling anger issue past. And he's like, you know what, I'm coming home. It's my home too, and I'm just tired of dealing with this crap, so you're not going to make me not be able to see my daughter on her birthday. And then he keeps asking how their child is doing, and she pretty much just wants to ignore it. He's pretty much just ignoring everything that Beth is saying and just keeps going back to wanting to know how his daughter is, which is understandable, but he's going at it about the wrong way. The whole time they're on the phone though, the Mexican group that William beat up, the two guys, are in this like lowrider car, and they're getting ready to do a drive-by on him because they see him at the payphone. And they get ready to do the drive-by, and they shoot pretty much everyone on this goddamn sidewalk, but they miss William altogether. Don't even hit him once. I don't know how they do that. But they end up crashing their car. I think they go to swerve to miss a truck, and then they crash into a freaking parked car of all things. William walks over to the crash. We see one guy crawling out on the ground because it looks like the other guy is dead. And William's like, you missed every shot. And he picks up the submachine gun and literally shoots the guy in the back of the leg, tells the asshole to go get some shooting lessons, and then walks away from the crime scene like a badass. I'm not dealing with your crap anymore. I shot you. Then we cut to Duvall showing up at the captain's office, and apparently it's been a few minutes because they already know about the shooting that's happened. Also, we find out Duvall is retiring a bit early as well, just to make his wife happy. And there's also the whole thing too of cops retiring. They apparently all die within the first week afterwards or something like that, something crazy, because they're all making bets as to how soon he's going to die. The captain somewhat tries to get him to stay because Duvall is apparently a good cop, an all-around good guy. And then the captain says he's tried and he's done his bit. And then he's like, so how's the kids, Duvall? And he's like, I don't have any kids. He's like, oh, all right. Yeah, dead, huh? Yeah. And then he's like, how'd you lose it? And Duvall's like, we lost her in her sleep. Thank you for being an insensitive jackass. We then see William at a bus stop as he's looking around watching like people pandering to try and get money. And then I think there might be like a homeless person who's playing like a one-man band and some other various things. And the bus shows up, but everyone starts plowing off of the bus. And he's kind of trying to get on the bus, but there's like too much people. And he's like, I don't want to deal with this crap. And then we cut to Beth as she's talking to some cops to find out the situation and how to handle it. And then she's like, I can't remember if he's not supposed to be 100 feet within me or 100 yards. Do you know? And the cop's like, well, it's up to the judge, actually, to be honest with you. He sets the rules. It's not us. It's not the same for everyone. And then that's when we find out slowly that William has some anger issues that we already know about, because William's pretty much been a jackass to everyone he's come across. At least anyone that's pissed him off, more or less. And then we see a shot of a busy little park area where kids are playing. There's some homeless people as well. There's some homeless people getting arrested. I don't know what kind of park this is, but it's LA, so we'll just go with it. Then we see William there, and he's getting bugged by this one guy who's asking for some gas money because he went to meet up with his friend, but his friend got arrested or dished him, and now he's living out of his car. He's almost out of money. He's almost out of gas. He's almost out of food. And then William starts questioning. He's like, well, let's see a driver's license. The guy's like, well, why do you need to see that? And then the guy's like, well, I need to see some proof. And then William's like, okay, let me see your car. He's like, no, man, I'm not going to show you my car. And he gets all pissed off and goes away. And then he comes right back. He's like, well, you got, I need some money for food. I haven't ate in a while. He's like holding a piece of food in his hand. He's like, this is like the only thing I've had in a while. And then he gets pissed off because William has 2 bags. He's like, you don't need 2 bags. Give me one of the bags. I can sell the bag, and I can have enough food to live off for a week. And then William's like, you know what? Take a suitcase. I don't need it anymore. So the guy gets all excited about it. Opens up the suitcase. He gets all pissed off because all that's inside is like a sandwich wrapped up in an apple. He's like, you asshole, and throws the apple at him. But he's also like demanding that William give him all the change that's in his pocket. He's like, I don't care how much change it is. Just give it to me. I need it. It's my change. It's like, no, dude. I get you're homeless and you're having some hard times, but you don't need to just demand the stuff from the man. Man's trying to work, kind of. Not really, because he's unemployed. And he's having a mental breakdown, but that's besides the point. Then we see the Mexican gangbanger's girlfriend being questioned about the accident, and that's when she mentions the baseball bat, and Duvall gets, that grabs his attention. The baseball bat, the same baseball bat that could have been used at the convenience store that got, robbed, but not really robbed because he paid for everything that he took. And then as soon as Duvall goes in to question her, she pretty much goes silent. She's like, I ain't talking to this old guy. Then Duvall looks at the map, and with another copy, he's like wondering, why is there a white guy with a white shirt on and a tie in the middle of the gangland of all spots? Then we see William in a restaurant that looks like McDonald's, and William's not too happy because he's showing up at like 11:30 or 11:35, I think it is, and apparently they stopped doing breakfast at 11:30, and he's very upset about it, and he wants to talk to the manager, and then the manager's like, no, sorry, we're already done doing breakfast. You gotta serve lunch now, so if you want something off the lunch menu, you can get it. That's when he pulls out one of the machine guns from the gangbangers, and he's pointing it in the ceiling, and everyone's just shocked and scared shitless, like, oh, we're all going to die at McDonald's today. But then everyone, he tells everyone to sit down, relax, enjoy their meals, and that's when he accidentally shoots the ceiling, and everyone gets even, more shocked and scared, and he's like, sorry, it's light trigger, I'm new at this, I don't know what I'm actually doing, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to press that, just enjoy your meal, guys. And then that's when the manager's like, you know what, we'll get you breakfast for you. And as William's walking around looking at some stuff and talking to the customers, asking them how they're enjoying the meal, he's like, actually, I think I'll have some lunch now, to be honest with you. I'm feeling some lunch. I want like fries and a chocolate shake and a burger. William goes up to grab his food, and he looks at it and gets all annoyed and complains about it. He just pulls out his burger, and it's like, this thing looks horrible. I want that, because he's complaining about the food never looks as good as it does in the ad, which is fair. It's understandable because they put a lot of effort, and they actually, some of that food's not actually food. It's just a diagram, paint it really well. But that's besides the point. And then we cut to Duvall and one of the girls that he works with, I think Sandra. They're out to lunch together, and then we find out they're like old partners together by the sounds of it on the road, like on the force. And then Sandra tries to tell him that he's doing the wrong thing for quitting. He shouldn't be quitting and moving away to make his wife happy. This is something he loves, and this is something he should keep doing until he's tired of doing it, or if you die. It depends on how you look at it, I guess. And then one of the other cops, who's kind of like an asshole, comes in, and he's telling Sandra that they got to go because there's this loony bin who's shot up a fast food spot, and Duvall wants to know, like if it was a guy with a white shirt and a tie, because apparently the guy who shot up the fast food spot also paid for the food that he got. And he's like, that's the same MO of the guy who took up the convenience store, paid for his own food there too, or his drink, I should say. Then we see William showing up at this like swap meet looking building outside, and he buys a snow globe that has a unicorn inside of it because apparently it catches his eye for his daughter. He actually pays $3 for it. Doesn't bitch and complain about the price of that sucker. Just goes ahead and is like, $3? Yeah, sure, fine. Then we see the cops leaving Beth's house, and they don't think he's going to come around because apparently it's been so many hours, and there's no way it would take him this long to drive there. Shocker. Surprising thought. He's not driving. He's actually hitchhiking hiking pretty much. We're just taking a trek essentially. And then we see William in the phone booth again, and some guy is pissed off and annoyed that he's taking so long. He's like, hey, other people want to use the phone booth. And then he's like, oh yeah, pulls out his gun and shoots at the phone booth. He's like, yeah, I think it's out of order, actually, to be honest with you. Then Sandra calls Duvall to let him know that the person who did shoot up the fast food spot was actually a white male in a white shirt with a tie. And Duvall says it sounds like the same guy from the gang beating as well. And we see William walking down the street. He stops for a minute because the hole in his shoe is starting to get a little bit big and probably being a little bit uncomfortable on the bottom of his foot. He goes into this army surplus store to look for some new shoes. And the clerk is listening to the police radio and gets really excited when he sees William walk in. So I'm not sure if he heard the description on the radio or not. And then he goes over to talk to William, asking what he's looking for. William says he's looking for some hiking boots, and then the clerk just starts insulting the other two guys that are in there shopping because they're gay apparently. And I'm not sure why you would do this. They would buy money or pay you for the items in your store. If they bought anything, that means your store would stay open, but that's besides the point. I guess you just don't want the money. Anyways, the guys leave all pissed off, and then William looks out the door and we see the police car pull up across the road, and then Duvall goes to question the gangbanger's girlfriend again. He's trying to figure out how many guns were in the gym bag, because apparently that's one of the things that William took, was a gym bag full of guns. Then Sandra comes into the army surplus store as the clerk's standing off on the one end while Williams is in the booth trying on some hiking boots, and that's when she mentions how she's looking for a white male in a white shirt and a tie with a gym bag, and the clerk just kind of pushes the gym bag into the stall and closes the curtain so she can't see him. Like, nope, haven't seen anyone here, sorry, haven't. And then he starts to insult her because she's a female cop, and then she leaves and he locks the door behind her so no one else can come in. And then Williams comes out of the change room. He's like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm not going to turn you in. I'm your friend. We're one together. We're anti-heroes or some bullshit. Anyways, he takes him in the back room to show him his personal stock of weapons, because he's really happy with what Williams is doing. He thinks that Williams is doing the, right stuff, which I'm not going to talk too much about this part because it gets really, really racist. There is in the back, though, there's a Santa Claus with a Nazi armband on. That's just a setting of what this kind of character is. I don't want to talk about it too much because I don't want my podcast getting banned everywhere. I don't know if that's a thing, but knowing my luck, it's probably a thing. Then the clerk shows him this heat-seeking rocket launcher. He wants William to take it because the clerk says, me and you are one the same. And he's like, we're not on the same team, William says to him. He's like, you're a sick asshole. I'm just having a really bad day, to be honest with you. We're not on the same team at all. And then the clerk gets pissed off and pulls a gun out on William because of what William said to him, and he grabs handcuffs to try and arrest him, and then he smashes his face into the booth, and it breaks one part of his glasses. And then he goes through William's duffel bag and finds the snow globe, and he says some very bad things about the snow globe because it's not a manly item to have, and smashes it, which really pisses off William because he bought that for his daughter. And then William grabs the butterfly knife out of his pocket and stabs the guy in the shoulder, and he drops to the ground. And the guy pulls the knife out. He's like, it's not one of mine. Wow, that's kind of nice though. And then as the clerk is getting up, he's looking, there's a mirror, and we see Williams behind him, and he actually starts blasting him with a gun. I'm assuming that he took from him, or it was just laying out there in the open, already loaded and ready to go. God knows with this army surplus guy. Then we see Duvall trying to talk to the captain and the fellow cops about the guy and how it's all connected, but no one wants to believe him. And then the captain says he's never trusted Duvall in the first place because he's not a real man, because he doesn't curse and swear all the time. Then we see the phone ring again. It's William calling Beth again. William's like, who were you on the phone with earlier? Because I tried calling you and the phone was busy. Why was that? Who were you talking to? And he's using the phone while he's still in the army store. He's still in the back room. And then she tries to bluff him out, saying that she's looking at the cops right now, and he doesn't believe her at all. And she's like, yeah, the cops are here. Don't come here. They'll shoot you. They'll do it. They won't really until they do, but that's besides the point. Then Duvall shows up at the small clerk's Mr. Lee's spot. He notices it's the same billboard that he saw while sitting on the freeway, because his car was back a little bit behind William's car. And then he climbs through the hills and he sees the freeway and he can see the billboard. He's like, I know who it is. I know who Defense is, because that's what the license plate says. Then we see the traffic jam, and some guy is cursing at an old lady for cutting in front of him. It's there, bumper to bumper traffic. And then William come out of nowhere and just clocks the guy right in the side of the face. Then he goes and talks to a construction crew member who's, he's standing by the manhole cover essentially, or a hole in the road. And William's like, what's wrong? the road was fine yesterday. Why are you guys doing this? And he's like, ah, just some issues. I don't know, man, just some issues. And Williams is pissed off because he just thinks it's the society screwing everyone over that's a working class, just to try and get more money out of them to fix stuff that doesn't actually need to be fixed. And that's when the construction worker knows, I think William has a gun in his belt. He's like, I'm just here to make sure no one falls in the hole. And then out of nowhere, Williams decides to pull the rocket launcher out, and the worker just walks away. He's like, no, I don't get paid enough for this, which is fair. I would probably do the same thing, essentially. And then as he's setting up the rocket launcher, this kid on a bike comes over, starts telling him how to set it up. And he's like, what movie you guys filming? And he's like, Under Construction. You like the title of it? He's like, yeah, you just gotta press that button there and stuff. And where's the camera? He's like, don't worry about it. He goes to shoot the rocket, nothing comes out. And then it does shoot out, and then he's like, it must be a dud. And then 2 seconds later, the whole construction site blows up. No, not a dud. Then we see Duvall and Sandra showing up to give a lady some questions, which is actually Defense William's mother. We see William jumping the fence at this like fancy golf club area, where 2 guys are annoyed at him passing through the golf course because he's using that pathway to go through, to, save some time instead of going around it. And one guy shoots a golf ball at him because he's really pissed off. He's like, you're fucking up my game, essentially. And then out of nowhere, William just pulls a shotgun out of his bag. I think he shoots a golf car, and then it goes like on its own down the hill. And then the old guy who's all pissed off that shot the golf club at him falls to the ground and starts having a heart attack. He's like, I need my medicine. And he's pointing at the golf cart as it goes into the little pond. It's like, well, I guess you're just having a shit day. You're just gonna have to die here on your golf course now, aren't you? Should have been an asshole to me then. You probably wouldn't have died. Then we see William's mother showing Duvall the son's room, William's room. And we find out that Williams actually works for National Defense. He makes rockets for a living. Then Duvall says that William mentioned about going home. He's like, well, could that actually be like his ex's home maybe? And then we find out the mom doesn't know anything about William's ex or where she lives or her grandchild or anything at all. And then we find out from Sandra, she comes in after doing a report on the police radio, and we find out actually Williams got fired over a month ago. So he's been jobless the whole time. Then Williams jumps his other fence. That's a really fancy house, and apparently it's got like razor wire on top of it, and he cuts his hand. He's all pissed off, so he starts yelling at the people that are getting ready to have a barbecue. But we come to find out the people that are having the barbecue are the people that actually own the house. Apparently it's this fancy plastic surgeon that owns the house, and apparently they just kind of swing over to use the barbecue every now and then with their family. And then they go into this little hut thing because they hear cops coming around, so they're trying to hide. And then that's when the dad's like, just take me, let my family go. And that's when William gets upset because he's like, you think I want to hurt your family? I have a family. I don't want to hurt my family. I don't want to hurt your family either. I'm just trying to get to my family. Then he goes on about how he's going to see his family and everything is going to be A-okay. No, it's not, because you're fucking crazy. Then Duvall finds out that the army guy was murdered and literally stuffed into his display case, which that's interesting, but okay. Then Williams calls his ex again, Beth, to complain about how things have changed. Apparently there's this store that they used to go to that's not the same anymore, and then she knows that he's getting really close, so she hangs up the phone, grabs Adele, and goes out the back door. As soon as Williams hears the phone hang up, he runs from the payphone to the house and runs for the front door as they escape out the back door. Then we see Williams inside the house watching some old videotapes of a happier family time, when they're happy and laughing and all that kind of fun stuff. And then the phone rings. It's actually Duvall trying to call, but he doesn't answer the phone at all. He just lets it ring. Then Duvall's wife calls. He says he's got something important has come up. He's going to be late, and she's calling because the stupid cat has scratched her and she's apparently bleeding to death. And she flips out on him because he's like, I got something important to do. I'm not going to be home right now. It's going to take a little while. And she starts flipping out, and then he's like, you know what? Shut up. Make sure my dinner is ready and wait for me for when I get home. And then he hangs up on her. He's like, yeah, you're standing up for yourself for one. Then as they are getting ready to leave the police station, Sandra and Duvall, the cops all pull, like a going away party on them. And they have like a strippergram and all everything. And they're putting hats on. He's like, you know what? It's fine. I got to go though, guys. I can't stay. And one of the cops make a joke like, what, you scared of girls too? Like, what's the big deal? And then another cop, the asshole cop's like, yeah, do you see his wife? And then Duvall's like, oh yeah? Comes over, clocks him. The guy falls into the cake. We then see Williams watching some more family tapes, but these ones aren't super happy. It's they got Adele like a rocking horse, and she's scared to get on it, and he's fighting with his wife to put her Adele on it, and he's like, just put her on the damn horse. I bought it for her. It's her birthday. Just let her sit on the goddamn horse. And the kid's crying, and that's where the tension starts to build between the two of them. Then Williams thinks his family is hiding at the pier because apparently that's the happy spot that they used to go to. And then he hears Duvall and Sandra showing up, and Duvall, I think, goes through the front door, and Sandra goes to take the back door. And then at some point, William, when he's coming out, actually shoots Sandra in the side. And she's got the dog with her though. At least the dog's there to keep her comfy. And now the chase is on as we see Beth and the child Adele showing up at the pier as Duvall and Williams are both running in that exact same direction. Then Adele looks behind her as they're sitting at like the concession stand. And she's like, "Oh look, it's Daddy!" And Williams runs up and gives her, Beth a big giant kiss, like sloppy, really weird looking kiss. And he's clearly battling some very intense mental issues. And he pulls out a handgun just to show it. And he's like, I'm just a dad coming home to be with my family after a really hard day in the office. I don't know what the big deal is. I'm just trying to be with my family. And everyone else on the pier just kind of runs away. Then he grabs his daughter and breaks down about how big she's gotten, because clearly they haven't been together for a very long time and hasn't seen her for a very long time as well. And then we see Duvall has finally caught up, and he's eating some popcorn, making some jokes. He's trying to have some small talk with Williams. Williams like, I'm just trying to have a family moment. Can you just leave us alone, please? And he doesn't want to hear anything from him at all. Then Duvall breaks out that his wife had a kid. Him and his wife had a kid, and that's a happy moment of things. But something bad happened. She was 2, and she actually she went down to sleep, and she never actually woke up, which is something that only happened to babies. But ours was 2 and it happened. And he's breaking down, essentially saying, Duvall saying, my wife didn't want kids. She wasn't made to be a mother, but she did it for me because it's something I want to do. I'm not sure why he's breaking down about that so much, but he is. I guess he's just trying to build a bond with Williams. It's trying to make him feel like he can trust them, like 2 dads just trying to battle and get through the life together. And at this point, they then hear sirens coming from the end of the pier, which makes Williams a little bit more paranoid. But Beth actually kicks the gun and then grabs it and throws it over the pier, and then she starts running with Adele, and that's when Duvall pulls the gun out on Williams and tells him to freeze. He doesn't want to do anything wrong. He just wants him, to relax. We'll go see the friendly cops up there, and we'll get everything situated. We'll get you all medicated and everything, happy-dory, essentially. And then it's now finally setting in to Williams that he is now the bad guy. This entire time he thought he was being the good guy, trying to do the good thing, trying to, just express the issues in society, and, it's not working out. And then Williams says, he's got more guns. He's got a lot of guns. He's got a gun in his pocket. And Duvall points to his gun at him. He's like, let's not do it. Let's just go see the cops, and we'll get everything fixed. And then Williams is like, let's have like a Western showdown, the sheriff versus the big bad guy. And then Williams says there's 2 choices. He's like, I kill you or you kill me, and then my daughter collects all the insurance money. And then Williams starts to count down, and once he gets to 1, he pulls a gun out, and then Duvall shoots him. And the gun that Williams had the whole time was actually the blue water gun that his daughter had earlier on in the movie. And he gets shot in the chest, I think, and falls up against the pier railing, and then breaks the railing and falls into the water. Then then everything's settled, and police chief is in front of the news reporters talking about it. He's like, this actually was one of my guys who solved the issue, solved the crime, and knew about it the whole time. Essentially, we kind of didn't believe him, and he wants to bring Duvall in to talk to the reporters. And Duvall just comes up. He's like, "Fuck you, Sarge," and then pretty much walks away. And Duvall tells Beth to not tell the daughter until tomorrow because it's her birthday still. It's still the same goddamn day. It's been her birthday the whole time, and we find out that all her friends are here actually at the house now, even though there's reporters and cops all around, to have their birthday party. And then we find out Duvall has decided to not retire, so he's a little bit worried because he's got to tell his wife because she doesn't know at all. He's pretty much feels like he's going to be, ripped apart for it. And then we see another police officer going inside the house to check it out and make sure everything's okay. And then we see that family video playing on the TV again, but it's not the one where they're arguing. It's the one where they're having a happy family moment. And I think it's the first day they got the puppy, and it's just them looking all happy and whatnot. And then the movie ends and the credits roll. And yeah, I've seen this movie a couple times. I really enjoy it a lot. On the Rotten scale, I give it a 7.5 out of 10. Definitely highly recommend checking it out. It is almost 2 hours, but it doesn't feel like a 2-hour movie. It actually feels really well paced, and there's a lot of action in it. that happens, and it's got a really deep meaning behind it about society and how things are fucked up, and just the stress getting to a man, and it's just really well done, and I definitely highly recommend it. So if you want, add that to your watch list. You just have to buy it on DVD. I think it's on HBO Max, but I can't get that, so I own it already, so that's how I watched it. But yeah, we're gonna watch or pick our next movie, which is not gonna be a horror movie yet. We think after this one we're gonna do a horror movie. This is a movie that I picked up a while ago. It's from 1994, and I've been wanting to watch it for a while because I'm pretty sure it's this guy's first movie. I'm pretty sure he's got a pretty big role in it. He's not a starring role by any means, but it's a pretty big movie as well. It's called Blue Chips, and it's like Shaq's first movie, I think. I'm just curious about it. It looks like a fun family movie, so I've been wanting to watch it for the last almost year now, and I haven't take the plastic off of it yet, so I'm bad for that. I got a lot of movies that are still wrapped that I've never actually seen before, so we're gonna slowly work away at that this year, but yeah, we're gonna watch that movie next week, and I should have looked up where it's streaming. I don't know if it's streaming anywhere, to be honest with you guys, but yeah, I'll leave that up to you guys if you find it. Hopefully you guys can. If not, you can listen to me talk about it next week. But with that being said, thank you all for listening. Thank you for all staying till this moment. This might be one of the longer podcasts depending on how the editing goes. I know most of my podcasts sit around like a half hour to 40 minutes, so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I appreciate everything. Make sure to check me out on all social medias at Typhonstein. All the links will be down below, but it's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube being the big thing. We are pushing the YouTube pretty much all the time. I'm going to start posting on all the other things. I know I say it all the time, but it's just hard to post on everything, especially when you don't see a lot of movement on the posts. Being an artist, you don't see a lot of interaction unless you get these high numbers, which I'm not at, but we'll keep working away at it because it's fun and it's what we do. So yeah, and as always, make sure to check out the outro band, Toronto-based horror band Blood Opera. All their links will be down below as well, but their main things are Instagram, YouTube, SoundCloud, and Spotify. Make sure to give them a like, follow, subscribe, and all that other fun stuff.
If you guys could, follow the podcast, subscribe, hit that share button. That means a lot. Leave a review or rating if possible. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys all later. Peace!
Whisper in the classroom, the writing on the wall. What's blood for?